This is the Cycle of Depression Part 2, as experienced by me, Michael Wilson. Feel free to check out my website at depressionperceptions.com. Before I begin, please don't change any parts of your current plan of action to overcome depression. Go off any medication you may be taking or take any additional steps without first consulting with a qualified professional. This video was not created as a means to replace your current treatment plan and is instead meant to be used for educational purposes only. This is one of many videos designed to help you better understand how depression can affect you and how to better manage it. If you remember from the previous video, I have identified 3 different ways to overcome feeling depressed. They are a natural ascension, conscious effort, and a moment of clarity. The first was already discussed in the previous video, so we will ignore it and concentrate on the remaining 2 right now. Let's start with a conscious effort, which can only happen once we get into a deep state of depression. So let me begin by showing you how we get there. Remember, this video is about depression, so for the sake of it, we are either depressed or not. Depressed is depressed. However, when we are not feeling that way, we can be anything from sad to happy to frustrated to any other emotion besides depressed. This is reflected in the 2 labels on the left-hand side. We can only reach a state of depression once we are in a feeling state, and the only way out again is to get back into a task state. The 2 are not interchangeable. This, of course, does not mean that we automatically become depressed once in a feeling state. It is just a precursor to it should we choose to do nothing else to improve our state of mind. Since the cycle never really starts anywhere, I will choose to begin with us being in a feeling state. Once in a feeling state, we start to lose our personal power, which is our inner strength or ability to deal with our problems in life. From this place, we naturally start seeking depression comfort, which is the pleasure we get from taking the path of least resistance and comes from following our depression routine. Our depression routine is a series of behaviors which define how we tend to live our life when feeling down. Next, we make a decision, and that decision has a huge impact on how we feel for the next few days, week, or perhaps even longer. If the decision is to reject this comfort, then we don't allow ourselves to become depressed. This will be discussed shortly. But if we instead choose to accept our depression comfort, then we fall into a depressive rut. Now, once in a depressive rut, our fate has been sealed for a period of time and life gets, well, very depressing. Remember, a depressive rut is a deep state of depression where we feed off of our depression comfort and adhere to our depressive routine. So now we are in a deep state of depression in this chart and we want to get out. It all starts with making the conscious effort to improve our state of mind and well-being. To get out of our head and start accomplishing something. Get our blood flowing and create a reason to feel good about ourselves. To do some random acts of kindness while expecting nothing in return. This is called gaining momentum, and as a result, we start gaining our personal power back. In fact, the moment that we reject this depression comfort, our personal power starts being restored because we're taking control of our lives and overcoming the feeling of helplessness. As long as we continue to gain momentum through a conscious effort, our personal power continues to strengthen. Once there, we are freed from feeling depressed for a period of time, like a few days, a week, or even longer. If we fail to continue gaining that precious momentum, however, we risk falling back into a feeling state and potentially a depressive rut. So, if gaining momentum is the key to getting out of a state of depression, how do we know when we have gained enough? You will know when you have reached a task state because your normal routine will kick in and you will just start doing things that you normally put off when feeling depressed. You can learn more ways to go about this by reading my blog titled How to Overcome Feeling Depressed, or else the document Over 30 Ways to Stop Feeling Depressed. Both can be found in my website mentioned at the beginning of this video. That is a conscious effort, my friend, and is the only way I know of where you can bring yourself out of a state of depression willingly. It may or may not be easy, but it is possible. There is one more way that we can overcome feeling depressed, but let me first finish off explaining the rest of the cycle here to help you see the bigger picture. Now that we have overcome feeling depressed, we have a decision to make. Our first option is to take action in order to understand and overcome what is causing us to be depressed in the first place. You can do this by reading books, finding support, eating healthier, exercising, and getting some therapy. Do whatever it takes for you to properly deal with and overcome what is causing you to be depressed in the first place. This process takes time, commitment, and continued effort. Unfortunately, though, we often don't take this option and instead choose the second one, which is to do nothing and enjoy our normal routine. This means doing nothing to help overcome depression and live our life like we normally do until eventually the cycle repeats itself and we fall back into a feeling state again. Once in a feeling state, we start to lose our personal power again and become exposed to depression comfort. Accept it, and we fall into a depressive rut, which brings us to the third and final way to overcome depression. When in the depths of our depressive rut, we have a moment of clarity and see the lesson to be learned, we find meaning in our suffering or perhaps the answer that we have been seeking. From this eureka moment, we are then able to transcend feeling depressed and overcome depression completely. Our life has a new sense of meaning, we gain purpose and feel set free, like we just got out of prison after a really long time. It is important to note, however, that this option does not just happen to anybody. In fact, if you're thinking about taking the easy way out and just waiting for this to happen to you, you may be waiting a long time, as such a moment can never be predicted and may never even happen. It is my hope that with this newfound knowledge, some of the fear and uncertainty you may associate with depression has been alleviated, and perhaps you have just a little bit more knowledge and hope for a full recovery. Additionally, if you prefer to read about this cycle instead of watching this video, head on over to my website from the beginning of this video and read the document called Depression Chart. Thank you for watching my video.